Hey everybody, Champions Tour angler Jason Howland here, and I live over on the Mississippi River, and one of my favorite lures that I love to throw, Mississippi River, shallow water, a lot of weeds, one of my favorite lures to throw, especially in the springtime of the year and then also in the fall too, is this guy right here. This is a swim jig, and actually swim jig, from what I understand, swim jig originated on the Mississippi River in the La Crosse area, but it's a great lure to throw shallow water with weeds. So those of you that don't know what a swim jig is, so a swim jig is similar to like a flipping jig, except for the head. If you can see that right there, the head's more of a bullet style head, so that way it can go through the weeds better than your traditional flipping style jig. And you don't fish this like a standard jig where you're pitching it out and jigging it back. Swim jig's all about, it's similar to a spinnerbait, so it's all about throwing it out and reeling it in. I do a lot of movement as I'm reeling it in, so I might shake it or pump it just to give it a little bit more action, erratic action, but for the most part you're just throwing it out and reeling it in. A swim jig really shines in that shallow water, so say 3 feet or less, and especially if there's weeds. There's a good one. A swim jig can be really effective when you get into that later spring time frame, especially say post spawn, when fish are guarding fry, they're on bluegill beds, they're chasing bluegills, and the weeds have come up quite a bit more. So then, you know, a lot of times in the earlier spring, you'll catch them on a chatterbait. Once the weeds get so thick, it's a little bit harder to throw that bladed jig because the blade gets hung up in the weeds and it's just hard to retrieve. Same thing with a spinnerbait. So that's when a swim jig really shines, because you can throw this thing through the weeds, and pretty thick weeds, and it'll go right through them. I throw my swim jig, I throw it on braided lines. Some guys will throw it on fluorocarbon. If you do use braided line, you want to make sure and have a swim jig that's got a heavy wire hook, so that it can handle that pressure from the braided line. I throw it on 40-pound braid. I use a high-speed reel and say a medium heavy, like a 7-foot rod or so. The swim jigs that I throw are all pretty much 1/4 ounce swim jigs. 1/4 ounce is really the key. So 1/4 ounce shallow water, you don't get hung up on the bottom, it can stay up. I will throw a 3/8 ounce swim jig on occasion if it's really windy, so you can throw it into the wind, but pretty much I stick to 1/4 ounce swim jig. Trailers, so trailers, this one right here is just a Rage Menace grub with some action on the tail. I throw single tail or double tail, just regular grubs as trailers. You can use like a straight type tail trailer as well. I find in the spring that can work pretty well. And then really in the fall is when I think the paddle tail type swim bait trailers work really well on a swim jig. As far as colors go, black and blue if it's stained, pretty basic. And when you get in the spawn, post-spawn time, when they're chasing bluegills, panfish, that's when this color really shines. So right now I'm catching all my fish on, and we're talking, it's spawn and post-spawn right now. I'm throwing a green pumpkin with some orange in it, maybe a little bit of purple, a little bit of black and blue, a little bit of black, but for the most part, green pumpkin, orange, something that imitates a panfish. Once we get into the fall and the fish are feeding on shad, that's when I'll throw the whites and chartreuse type swim jigs. Best thing about a swim jig is the bite on these things. When they hit it, they hit it. And you can really set the hook on these things with that braided line. You can really take them to the woodshed, cross their eyeballs. So our first stop this year on the Champions Tour is on Big Stone Lake. It's a shallow water fishery, a lot of weeds. So I got a really good feeling that A lot of the pros, me included, are going to be throwing this guy right here, swim jig. So if you haven't yet, check it out. Try out a swim jig. You won't regret it.